Welcome to Stuff You Should Know, a production of iHeartRadio's How Stuff Works.
Hey, and welcome to the podcast. I'm Josh Clark, and there's Charles W. Chuck Bryant, and Jerry's over there, and we're cubing it up with Rubik, the cube. Did you see that cartoon, Rubik the Amazing Cube? Did you come across that?
No.
Okay. I feel like we are well within our rights as far as fair use goes, since we are talking about this, to at least play the highly disturbing but also strangely cute voice of Rubik, the Amazing Cube. Can I play this real quick?
Sure.
Okay.
My name is Rubik.
That is it.
Wow.
And it is awfully unusual, especially when you see this cube. They just basically took a... Do you remember the goblin face on Maximum Overdrive on the front of that semi?
Sort of.
It's kind of like a cuter version of that they put onto a Rubik's Cube, put some feet on it, and then gave it superpowers. That's Rubik the Amazing Cube.
Wow.
Before we go any further, Chuck, I just want to give a shout out for my Chicago show. May I?
Yes.
I'm doing a solo End of the World live show in Chicago on September 12th at Lincoln Hall. And if you want tickets, go to lh-st.com. Okay? Okay. So back to Rubik, Chuck.
Yeah, it was kind of hard to believe that it took until 2014 for this thing to be granted National Toy Hall of Fame inductee status.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like it would have been much sooner than that because they have sold hundreds and hundreds of millions of Rubik's Cube since 1980. I had one. I still have one. I could do it at one point.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I could do it in a couple of minutes.
Wow, Chuck, I'm impressed. I had no idea.
Yeah, I can still do one side and like the top row surrounding that side on all sides. And that's where I completely forget.
Oh, I see. So you couldn't do it in a couple of minutes now. You could in the past?
Yeah, when I was 9.
Okay, well, I'm impressed. I've never been able to solve a Rubik's Cube. I've never been sucked in enough to really spend a significant amount of time. But I was playing with my niece's Rubik's Cube the other day, studying for this. And I was like, yeah, I could see how somebody would become obsessed with this kind of thing for sure.
Yeah, it was fun. And it was, to call it all the rage is an understatement. It was one of the most popular toys of all time, invented in 1974 by a math enthusiast in Hungary, an architect, a professor named Erno Rubik.
Appropriately enough. They named him after the cube.
That's right. And if you don't know what we're talking about, it seems weird to describe a Rubik's Cube, but we'll probably be taken to task if we do not. I would say just come out from under the rock that you've been living under. But we may have some young listeners who don't even know what this thing is, this piece of 80s ephemera, even though it's not ephemera because they're still pretty popular.
Yeah.
But it is a cube made up of 26 little mini cubes called cubies, which is kind of a cute little name.
I think so too. Not as cute as Rubik the Amazing Cube, but yeah.
Little cubies. And they are in a 3-inch by 3-inch by 3-inch well, that's not quite true. A 3 by 3 by 3 grid,
right?
Eventually creating a cube that measures 2.25 inches or 5.7 centimeters per side.
Right. And so there's six cube faces because it's a cube, and each face has a different color. There's orange, blue, green, yellow, white, and red. And when you mix these things up, it's just a jumble, a riot of different colors like you've never seen in your life. But the point is to move these cubies around through the 18 different ways you can move any given cube so that all of the colors are lined up. All the colored cubies are all the same on each face. And it sounds easy. Friends, it is not easy. Not at all. Like maybe for some people it's easy, but for the rest of us normal folk, us normies, it is not easy in any way, shape, or form.
No, it is not. And in fact, they even suggest that you read about how to solve the Rubik's Cube. It is the very rare individual that can literally just figure it out without any help at all. Mm-hmm. That's really tough to do. So it's not like you're not a cheat if you look at like how to solve the Rubik's Cube and then memorize these patterns and practice them. That's sort of the point.
Right, yeah, like go look it up. Like it's fine. No one will get mad at you for that.
Yeah, because it's no fun to never solve a puzzle.
Well, that's why I think I've never gotten sucked in. I was like, there's no way I'm going to possibly stumble across this. And I just don't think like this. My spatial reasoning is terrible. I'm not great at math. I'm colorblind. Everything just looks white.
It's not the toy for you.
No, it's really not. I can't discern squares from circles. It's just, I'm off. So originally, the Rubik's Cube was called the Magic Cube. And it was invented, like you said, by Erno Rubik, who is Hungarian. So it was originally called the Bíves kocka, which is magic cube in the Hungarian.
And kocka means butthead, I believe.
It does. The magic butthead is what it was originally called.
The Beavish and Butthead.
Oh, right. Nice, man. It's like, where's he going with this? After all these years,
Still
it's
didn't get
great.
that one.
No, I didn't. But I was like, I'm going with this. We'll go with this. It's Chuck. I trust him. And it paid off, too.
So Mr. Rubik got his Hungarian patent on the mechanical design of this in 1977. And it was in Hungary only for a while. And it did pretty well in Hungary. But that's kind of where it stayed. It was because of the politics of the time and the fact that it was Hungary. It was not super easy to get an American patent or to bring it over and market it here in the West. So it was pretty much a Hungarian local sensation for its early, probably first year.
Yeah, he had like a Hungarian toy manufacturer make like 10,000 of them, but he wasn't happy with them, so he cut the run off at 5,000. So there were 5,000 of these things floating around Budapest and maybe Hungary in general. And it was just total serendipity that there was a guy named Tibor Laxi, and I'm quite sure that's not exactly how you say his last name, but that's how
right.
it's spelled. It's probably like Lucia or something like that. But Tibor, I just love that name. It's a great name. He was an entrepreneur who had left Hungary and moved to Austria. So he had really developed a taste for capitalism. Well, he happened to be visiting back home in Budapest when he was at a restaurant, and he noticed a waiter playing with the Bíves kocka, the magic cube. And he said, "You there, what is that?" And he said, "Well, it's the Bíves kocka. How about I sell it to you for $1?" And I believe he bought that for $1, played around with it for a minute, and was like, this could be big. So he found out who invented it, and he scheduled a meeting with Erno Rubik.
Yeah, and he would say later on that Erno Rubik had a lot to do with why he decided to get into business with him. Here's his quote. He said, "When Rubik first walked into the room, I felt like giving him some money. He looked like a beggar. He was terribly dressed." You got to remember, this guy's a professor, so they're not known for their sharp attire.
Right.
He was terribly dressed, and he had a cheap Hungarian cigarette hanging out of his mouth. But I knew I had a genius on my hands, and I told him we could sell millions.
Yeah.
And he was right.
Oh, man, was he ever right? He understated it, actually. The Tibor, I'm just going to call him Tibor, he took this magic cube, and he started going to toy fairs. And I think he struck out at a few of them, but he really hit it out of the park at the Nuremberg Toy Fair when he met a toy expert who had connections with Ideal Toy Company. You remember Ideal back in the day?
I think I do, for sure.
I'm pretty sure they made that, what was the Daredevil's name? Evil Knievel. I think they made the Evil Knievel stunt bike.
You know what's funny is they make those now for other. There's like an Incredibles stunt bike with Plastic Girl.
Oh, really?
And it's the same exact function. We have one in our house, and you load it up and crank it, and there she goes.
Is it the exact same mold? They just put like different paint on it or something like that? Because I love knockoff toys, man.
It's slightly different in its design, but it's clearly like the same exact toy.
Do you remember that gallery of knockoff toys I made back when we used to blog?
Those are great.
I think it's still up somewhere on our Stuff You Should Know site.
Remember how excited we would get about gallery page views?
Yeah. Oh, we'd be like, holy cow, we're up to 70. And it's only been up for a week and a half.
So funny.
So at the Nuremberg Toy Fair, Tibor runs into the guy from Ideal, and they end up purchasing it. They purchase the rights to this, the global rights, and they basically sign up to create 1 million Rubik's Cubes.
Yeah, also, we should say at this toy fair, he did a pretty smart thing. Instead of like buying a booth, he just came and worked the floor with Rubik's Cubes.
Yeah.
And got this like ground buzz going by walking around and giving these things to people. And like, that's genius. Like for something like this, that's the perfect way to pique someone's curiosity, is not to have some flashy, like spinning giant Rubik's Cube, is to actually get it in the hands of people walking around the floor.
Right.